This is one of my favorite flashlights, and it costs less than $2. Actually, it used to just cost $1, but they've since increased the price. Honestly though, I really am kind of bummed out about that, because that means if I have $10, I can only buy 5 of these now. Regardless, I'm going to show you why this super cheap flashlight from Walmart is so easy to recommend. So we're going to look at the features, we're going to look at the performance, and we're going to dive a little bit more into the value proposition. So this is literally the cheapest flashlight you can buy at Walmart, at least the cheapest light in their Ozark Trail line. I don't even officially know what this is called, it just says OT50L on the side, so that's just kind of what I've called it. The Ozark Trail line, if you're familiar with them, they're across the board very high value lights. There's some really nice metal options, but this cheapo plastic one is my favorite of the bunch. This really is a very basic light. There's not a whole lot going on here. We have a single emitter and a plastic reflector in the front, a reverse clicky switch on the back. This is just a single mode on-off light. And then inside we have a battery carrier that carries 3 AAA cells, included are 3 alkaline batteries. So the first great thing about these lights is the performance. Obviously it says 50L on the side, they claim it's 50 lumens. I actually measured all 3 of these lights here to be over 50 lumens. And they're pretty consistent too, but on average they were about 65 or 70 lumens, which is pretty darn solid. Again, for $1, that's great. But as nice as that output is, it wouldn't be useful if it didn't have a good beam shape. And they did a really good job with that here. This has a really nice, actually surprisingly tight throwy beam. I would almost consider this to be a thrower. We have a really nice tight hotspot that throws quite a bit. It's surprisingly intense, has a nice high candela rating for this output, and it has a clean beam pattern. The spill is nice and wide, it gives good area illumination, and doesn't have any major notable artifacts. Again, a shockingly good beam for this price of $1. Now the compromise here is going to be beam color. This is definitely not going to be winning any awards in that category. It's very bluish, terrible coloration, low CRI. I don't like it, but at least the tint is consistent. It is what you're going to get for this price, no way around that, but it is serviceable in my opinion. Now where things really get interesting with these lights is when we talk about performance and batteries. So this light comes, of course, with 3 included cheapo AAA alkaline cells. These aren't great, but they're included with the light, so really hard to argue with that for $1, right? While these are alright, I definitely recommend switching to nickel metal hydride rechargeable cells. These are Eneloops, but there are several nickel metal hydride options available. These are going to have a higher upfront cost, but trust me, these are way better. Better long-term storage because they don't leak, better performance as we'll see in a second, and you're going to save way more money in the long term because they're rechargeable. Now if you're like me and you have other more powerful flashlights, they may include 18650 batteries. Now this is a lot more powerful than even 3 of these, and it's going to have about the same voltage. So yes, you can use this in the OT50L, and as we'll show you in a bit, you get way better performance. But that's one of the great things about this light. For $1, you actually have quite a few options for how you're going to power it, and that's pretty cool. Now in terms of output, the alkaline and the nickel metal hydride cells will give you basically the exact same output, while the lithium ion will give you a little bit lower output with a full cell. When we actually graph output over time, you can see that the alkaline cells perform poorly, like you would expect. They drop off quite quickly. You're not going to get very much light for very long, but I would say you do get about 5 hours of usable light out of this, so that's nice. Switching to the nickel metal hydride, total runtime is about the same, but during that time it'll sustain much more light. With the nickel metal hydride, you can see there's a quick drop at the beginning, but you can see it sustains over 50 lumens for over 3 hours, which is really nice. Where things get really exciting is when we switch to the 18650, which, as you can see, lasts much longer than the other 2 options. It does just kind of curve off as the battery dies, but we're sustaining over 50 lumens for like 10 hours. So honestly, switching to the 18650, if you have chargers for this battery, if you have these batteries at all, this is a pretty darn solid option. Now it is a little concerning at first because this battery is quite a bit longer than the other options, but there are long compressible springs in the head and the tail of this light, which means that this battery actually will fit fine. No real issues with that. And if you happen to have flat top cells, those will fit even better. So I wouldn't worry about that. Now let's be real, this is never going to be as durable as a metal flashlight, right? If you sit on this, it could get crushed. I'm going to be honest. All right, I'm interjecting on myself here. I want to take that last statement back a bit because this is pretty thick and pretty tough plastic. I really don't think you'll have to worry about durability much with this guy. It's pretty durable overall. One thing that's notable is there are no O-rings. You could add your own, but it's not going to be waterproof. However, I have used like a lot of these lights over the years, I've actually never had one break. I've dropped them, I've gotten them wet, I've shoved them in drawers and backpacks and so on and so forth. As long as you just treat this as, you know, a plastic flashlight, you won't have any issues, and this shouldn't just die on you. At least I've never had it happen. If it does, it is $1. So why do I recommend this light so highly? I think this light is perfect for just buying a bunch of them and then stashing places around the house. You as an individual, well, you're watching this channel, so good chance you're into flashlights and you've already got a good one. But not everybody else does. And for emergency preparedness or just general usefulness, because these are useful tools, having them stashed in drawers around the house, in the car, etc. is actually very convenient. And I found that over experience. Like, these are just perfect for it because they're so cheap. You can get them in bright colors, so they're easy to find, and they're perfectly serviceable. Another thing I have found while living with younger siblings and cousins, these lights are perfect for letting young kids use, being plenty bright, yet not too powerful, and having super simple operation and bright colors. Plus, you won't have to worry about the lights breaking or getting lost. Of course, you don't want these to get lost. It is plastic, so like losing this outdoors, it's not good for the environment, but if a flashlight's going to get lost, better that it only costs $1 instead of like 50, right? So this is ideal for scenarios where you're not sure you're gonna get the light back. You can have a stash of really nice flashlights, but honestly, I think it makes more sense to have a couple of nice flashlights. Maybe you've got your big ones for when you really need to light up the outdoors. Maybe you've got a compact portable EDC light that you rely on. But sometimes you just need some extra flashlights, and it makes a lot of sense to just spend $10 and buy like 5 of these, right? So I think these are just awesome for that use case. So another feature I want to talk about these real quick, these have what's called a reverse clicky. So you're going to click it and that's going to turn on, and then if you kind of half press it, it'll turn the light off. On lights that have modes, this is a really nice way to switch modes, but this is obviously just on and off. Normally I prefer what's called a forward clicky, which is if you press it, it'll turn the light on, and then if you click it, it'll stay on, and then you have to click it to turn it off. This just allows you to have like momentary, you don't have to click it all the way, that's kind of nice. Genuinely for this light, I think reverse clicky is better because, again, specifically, this is a light that's going to get like stashed in a drawer or stashed in a backpack somewhere. And for that reason, you know, if it was somewhere where it could be rubbing up against other items, then having that forward clicky could cause it to turn on and die while it's in a backpack or something. I mean, yes, it could just get clicked and the same thing would happen, but this just adds an extra little bit of barrier to that happening, which I do actually appreciate. If you really wanted, you could use this as your main light for EDC or for a camping trip or something, but while they're serviceable for a primary light, I definitely recommend something more durable and powerful. A couple of budget lights that I recommend and use regularly are the Workhos FC11 for about $25 and the TS21 for $35. The OT50L is a great cheap backup option, but doesn't replace those more capable lights. But sometimes you just don't want to spend $30 on a flashlight. Of course, these aren't the only flashlights that cost $1, they're not the only good flashlights that cost $1. But what's really nice about these specifically, as somebody who lives in the US, is that they are Walmart flashlights. So of course in the US, Walmart is everywhere, super easy to get to, they always have a ton of these, so you're just guaranteed to be able to find them if you need them. And that's a really big deal actually. So that's cool, I like that. One last use case, this little headlamp here. This specific one I haven't even used, I've got a couple of these. This is also a great, like, it's $1, you can stash it in your backpack just in case you need a headlamp. I don't even have anything else to say about this, it works fine, works great, it's $1. Like, so yeah, these Walmart flashlights, I genuinely love them. They're awesome, and they're only $1.80, so you can't go wrong with these. If you want to see some other awesome flashlights, we do happen to have a ton of videos on this channel, so go check those out, and thanks for watching.